todos. Greetings, everybody. Josh Tovar, principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, ISD, Garland, USA. Ready for episode number 7, taking care of the temple, the physical environment that we carry on this show right now. We're here to hear from you. So please make sure if you're joining us or on the rebroadcast, like it and share it, because you know what? This is a time where people reflect and think about how to prepare for 24-25 school year. Hey, but you know what? We got this awesome co-host, and she's already reflecting. She's already enjoying her time. What's going on with you, Dr. Moreno?
Hey, Josh. I'm so happy. Episode 7. It's amazing. And guess what? I will not miss this show for anything. I am actually in Mexico, in Cihuatanejo, Ixtapa, on the Pacific side of Mexico, enjoying the rays, the sun, the pools. It's amazing. And you know what? People need to refresh and think about their health and rejuvenate and recharge, because guess what? This work is tough. And so we need to make sure that we take care of our bodies so that we can get ready for the 24-25 school year.
Exactly. We'd like to guess our guest. George Valenzuela is in the house, author, Solution Tree speaker. Thank you for being here, carnal. Much appreciated. Hey, everybody, just know that the purpose of the PGP podcast is that we all grow closer together, that we all learn from each other. We're not alone. We're not islands. And, you know, we've had people that have been retired with over 175 years of experience talking to you. We've had people talk about questioning with Eric Francis, in-school suspension, the current veterans on how to keep it going. And you know what? Today, about the show, we have these awesome guests. And let me bring him in, Dr. Moreno, because you know what? These guys are live. These guys are live always on social media. They're showing us that special spice of life. We've got these awesome guests today. I'm almost there, bringing everybody in. And we have our guests here joining us along again with George Valenzuela. Make sure you check out his podcast. And whenever he's around speaking, you go ahead and join him. Welcome, guests, to talking about your temple, caring for you. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Estas tardes, ¿cómo están?
Doing good.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, let's get started right here with the show. And as we all have learned from that awesome educator, Principal Cafele, he always believes in bringing the receipts, bringing the street cred. You know what? Because whenever we go to conferences, the person talking to us, do you have the street cred on the advice that you're giving? Do you bring the receipts? Well, you know what? Let's go around. When I call you, please tell us your name, the different jobs that you've held, how long you've been in education, and which one was your most favorite job. Let's start off with ladies first. Sheka Houston.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Sheka Houston. I am in Chester, South Carolina. So I was a teacher for 5 years, an assistant principal for 8 years, principal for 5 years. I currently work at the district level. This is my 3rd year there. I'm the director of secondary interventions for Chester County School District. The position that I enjoyed the most, principal.
¿Por qué? Why?
Well, I think it was mainly because we were able to see like a major shift in our school culture. At the time, we were in state-sanctioned school improvement. So the staff and we moved the school 2 report card grade levels in 1 year. So to see that major shift happen, it was just, it was great to see the students blossom and start really believing in themselves.
There you go. I fed you a softball, lady. I wanted you to hit a home run. That's right. Not just anyone can turn around a school, especially if it's taken over by the state or looking at being taken over. So kudos to you. Thank you for being here. Dr. Houston, Mr. Auburn Tiger. Hey, if you guys don't know Craig Boykin, I brought him. I contracted him to come and visit my former campus. This guy speaks from the heart. I just had the pleasure of hearing him in the North Carolina Middle School Conference. That guy is real. He really brings the receipts and drops that knowledge. Sometimes a little bit uncomfortable, but you know what? We need to hear that. Craig Boykin, introduce yourself.
How you doing? My name is Craig Boykin, and as he said, I'm kind of like the Tupac of speaking.
I'm gonna say what needs to be said. I don't care if it's politically correct. I don't care if I step on your toes. I don't care about getting my next engagement. Like that ain't why God got me into this arena. Some of these speakers they walk on eggshells. That's not me. Like I'm really gonna say what needs to be said, because if you go to church every Sunday and the pastor never step on your toes, you never feel uncomfortable, you ain't growing. In order to grow, you got to get uncomfortable. My interest into this speaking game is different. I wasn't a principal. I wasn't a teacher. I was that kid. I was a high school dropout. My mom was on crack. Got 4 college degrees, working on my 5th, working on my 2nd PhD as we speak. I didn't know that this was a formal platform, so I didn't put doctor on my name. But it is what it is. And so I just believe that we got to do things differently. The way we've been doing it isn't working, and so that's why I kind of go against the grain. And sometimes it bite me in the behind. Sometimes people don't invite me back to conferences, but it is what it is. God is the orchestrator, not the people that orchestrate the conferences. So I ain't worried about it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And you know what? Please reach out to him. I heard something during his conference about African American youth and their cell phone. And since that, hey Craig, I grew buku. That one session right there was worth me spending out of my pocket hundreds and hundreds of dollars, because right there, when you drop that knowledge, it made me a better educator. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you got to reach out to that cat right there. Dr. Don Parker, the gun show, the 155 howitzers right there in the house. Dr. Don Parker speaks from the corazon. I've been hearing this guy all over social media, on different podcasts, just on fire. Dr. Don Parker, talk to us.
Yo, Josh, thanks for having me on the show. It was, great meeting you on social media. It's a pleasure meeting Dr. Moreno as well. I've been following Dr. Sheka Houston for a while, and I met Asael recently, as we're both part of the group Fit Leaders on Twitter. And Craig, I've been knowing about Craig for a while too. And look, I got to give a shout out to my boy, George Valenzuela. We met when we both spoke at the same school conference in Arizona. We became fast friends. So that's my brother in this game. But yes, I started my career off as a PE and health teacher. Then I became a dean of students. Then I became assistant principal for culture and climate. Then I became assistant principal for curriculum instruction. And then I fell into my dream job. I was assistant principal for activities and athletics. That's like a high school athletic director. And I thought I was going to retire from that job because I was able to combine my love for sports and athletics with school leadership. And I just wanted to stay in that job until I retired and have them name the gym and the athletic fields after me. That's all I wanted, right? That's all I wanted at that point. But fate had it where I became a school principal. I would say my favorite job probably was school principal, where I was able to implement restorative justice. I was able to increase student attendance, increase student achievement, and took the school, from lowest performance to exemplary. So, that was always would be my favorite position, just because you're able to lead and you're able to support teachers and students, and students' parents as well, because parents are always a part of the equation that a lot of people forget about. So boom, there you have it, Josh. Thanks.
Thank you. And all of you, I highly encourage you to go to Will Parker's podcast, where Don Parker and some of his colleagues talked about after George Floyd's death. Man, brother, that two-part podcast, bro. Gracias. You all, if you go to, this is about all of us being together, all right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's about promoting other educators that bring the knowledge. Will Parker is not only a great podcaster, but that 2-part series after George Floyd and how to have the conversation. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, educator, you know what I'm talking about. And that guy right there.
I remember that podcast, Josh. I remember that podcast. And you're right. Shout out to Will Parker, who has his own podcast. He's a great leader and a great leader of leaders. And as a matter of fact, he wrote the foreword in my book, Be the Driving Force, leading your school on the road to equity. So shout out to Will Parker. That's my man.
Exactly. And the promoter of everybody that's fitness, the guy who's retweeting, resharing, and make sure you like this podcast, liking everything, Asael Ruvalcaba from the Valley in Texas.
Repping the 956, Asael Ruvalcaba, my high school principal in Rio Hondo. I taught 11 years. Coached everything from football, baseball, golf, Did that for 11 years. Then I went to as an assistant principal for another 8, 9 years. And I've been the principal for the past 11 years. So I've been at it for 30 years now in education. I've loved every minute of it. As far as my favorite role, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you all, and that is growing up as a son. That's been my favorite role of all time. I always wanted to please my mom and dad growing up, and whatever they want for me to do, more than honored, and just try to follow their guidance. So yeah, that's me.
Eso, esas son ganas, compa. I love it right there. Love it. Dr. Moreno, take it away.
Awesome. Well, guess what? I'm always curious to find what or who motivated you to become an educator. So let's just start with Dr. Parker. So tell me a little bit about who or what motivated you to become an educator.
All right. So my high school coaches really encouraged me to become an educator. So I was in PE class one day, and my high school coach was also one of my teachers, and he was a PE teacher. And I just saw how just lighthearted he was, how he always had a positive attitude, how he loved his job, how he gave mentorship to me and all of my friends and all of my teammates. And one day I asked him, I was like, man, you look like you love what you're doing. I was like, you've definitely impacted my life. Like, how can I do what you're doing? And he said, well, in order to become a PE teacher, you just have to go to college, major in physical education and health. And he was like, I'm going to help you along the way. But the reason I wanted to become an educator is because of the impact that he had on my life, along with my other coaches who really kept me on the right path, continued to encourage me when I had a lot of that male leadership that was missing from my life. They stepped in to fill the gap. And so I wanted to do for other youth what they did for me, because he really set me on the right path, encouraged me along the way, and, kind of kept me on the straight and narrow to let me know that education can be a game changer in my life if I just follow the path and stay on the right path. So
Yeah.
I want to do that for other people. So my coaches and PE teachers really are the ones who influenced me to become an educator.
It's amazing. And I want everybody out there to really listen to what you said, because you're absolutely right. Our teachers really impact the students, right? Students are actually looking up to you. They're wondering what they want to do. And sometimes it's the educators that are really influencing. And I mean, I'm who I am because of a teacher as well, right? I became a principal myself because of a teacher who really took me under my wing. So awesome. Thank you, Dr. Parker.
Thank you.
Dr. Houston, what do you have?
So my high school social studies teacher, Mr. Worthy, he was also my yearbook staff teacher. He taught us Black history, government, economics, but just his enthusiasm about teaching, his motivation. He had a relationship with all the students. He knew all of our parents' names. He usually didn't call us by our official names. I think I got called Broomhilda and a bunch of different other stuff. But he just had such a great rapport with everybody, all of the students, and motivated us. We did everything for him in yearbook staff. We would go out to be able to get lunch. So he would have us to run all of his errands too. But actually, when I was motivated in high school to become a teacher, I went through the teacher cadet program. But then when I saw how much teachers made, I said, I don't think I want to do this. So I went to college and majored in business. But when I became a real estate broker, I learned an important lesson that money is not everything. So when I was working with a group of young ladies through a pageant, through my sorority, it was on self-esteem. Just working with them made me remember that passion that I felt in high school about wanting to become a teacher. So a friend of mine, she told me there's an alternative route that you can, do. So I did the alternative program and got into education, and I've been here ever since.
Wow. So you can still be an educator even if you don't major in education. So for all those people that are doing alternative certifications, we can still be great educators, right? Because I too am an alternative certification person as well, because that was not my route, but I love what I do now. So
I do
awesome.
too.
Thank you. And Asael, can you tell me a little bit? Craig, I'm going to get to you next. So give me a second. And I'll repeat the question for you, sir. Go ahead, Asael. Who or what motivated you to become an educator?
I guess I would have to. I mean, there's too many to pick one. Too many coaches, too many great teachers. But I guess going back to my fifth grade teacher, Mr. J.D. Garcia, uh, just to give you kind of like a visual, he looked like a cross between Manny, the Raging Bull Fernandez, if you were into wrestling back in the day, Manny Fernandez, and Mr. Welcome Back Carter, if you remember the show. So he had a thick mustache, big old arms, fifth grade teacher in the 956 Southmost area. So we were a bunch of little kids, and he had the biggest arms. And so we asked him, we're like, hey, sir, how do you get those big arms? And sure enough, he's like, hey, I do push-ups every single day. So that kind of motivated us, not just me, but everyone there to start doing push-ups. Uh, just a great teacher, and every single day. And keep in mind, this is public education, but he would pray for us every single day. Every
Wow.
morning, he would tell us, all right, everyone, bow your heads. And no one complained. No one, like, we all listened. We all bowed our heads. And he always started off with a prayer. And this is in public education. And not one parent ever complained. And as a matter of fact, parents were in favor of that. And just a very positive role model for us kids in the Southmost area in the 956. So kudos to Mr. J.D. Garcia for helping us out and guiding us in the right way.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. And you know what? Back in the day, we could do a lot of those things. Now, heaven forbid, right? Because sometimes you get in trouble for even doing that. But you know what? Respeto. That's respect on the kids, on the teachers, and it was that relationship building. So awesome. And kudos to the 956. I love it. I love it. And Dr. Boykin from Alabama, tell me who or what inspired you to become an educator?
Well, loaded question. Let me see how I can summarize this in about a minute. So I'm a high school dropout. Went out in the real world, experienced life. I shot one night while I was in the car with my brother, and I went to jail one night. Now, for one night, I was sitting in the county jail, and I could hear my sixth grade teacher, who was named Jennifer Gaston. And this woman had always told me that I was bigger than my situation. You know, it kind of went in one ear and went out the other. Well, the judge let me go on. He went to the military, gave me what I needed, and still didn't value the successful. After the military, I went to college. This was mama dropped out, my brother dropped out, my sister dropped out, everybody in my family dropped out. It was new for me, but after a lot of hard struggles, I was able to graduate with a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, a PhD, and I'm working on my second PhD as we speak. And I started writing 7 books. Well, when I met my wife, I went to church, chasing my wife. Fine, I'm like, I got to have this woman. Whatever I got to do, I'm finna do it. You know what I'm saying? And so I went to church with my wife, and the pastor was preaching, and he was telling us to join a ministry. So I joined the prison ministry. I'm like, man, I'm gonna take the route least resisted. I ain't got to do nothing but go there, read a scripture, and maybe sing about a gospel song or something. Well, I went. The evangelist had a preaching gig, asked me to bring the word. I spoke. The inmates was in tears. They were crying like, man, you got a story. You sound just like mine. And then I got what's called the speaking bug. And then I started speaking. I'm thinking like overnight, you're going to go from being nothing to Principal Kafele in 24 hours. I really thought that's how it works, but that ain't how it worked. So I spoke for 7 years. Nobody paid me a dime. And then eventually it kind of took off. Well, my last book that I wrote, I kept seeing that it was less than 2% of black men in education. And so I told my wife, because I actually went back and taught middle school for 2 years I told my wife I wanted to go back and teach. I wanted to go and teach because I wanted to know why it was a lack of black men in education. And so I threw my hat in the ring, went in middle school for 2 years, absolutely loved it. I ended up leaving, but it wasn't because of the students, it was because of the principal. That's another story. I'll tell you what the heifer did at another time. But that's how I got into education.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you. Those are all great stories. What you got, Josh?
All right, guys. So we're gonna stack the next couple of questions, right? So don't go too deep when Dr. Moreno and I go back and forth. We're gonna stack these questions. And before we get started, hey everybody, these are educators. We're not licensed people. We didn't get no careers. These are guys that grade papers like you, deal with discipline issues like you, go speaking across, whatever it might be. So you're learning from us that do your job. We're not physicians, so just listen and take it in. Whatever we present to you, we're not telling you to do. We're just letting you know that's what we do. And for you know what, you just like in education, you take from this teacher, you take from this teacher, you take from this teacher, and you make it your own in your pedagogy, right? So we're going to be asking basic questions and building up on that. So very simple, don't get too complicated. Like I said, we'll build up on each one. Let's start off with Asael. Asael, what started you on your exercise journey? Don't get too. We're going to ask detailed questions later on, all right? Just what started you on it?
Just growing up, just the love of sports, just instilled that in me, you know. And as far as I just wanted to exercise. I just wanted to run, be active, play sports, play basketball, and my parents supported it. So it was just one of those things that just kept on, and you know, I've kept on with it.
So in a nutshell, you've been a student athlete for all your career, correct?
Pretty much, yes, sir.
Perfect. Love it. Dr. Don Parker, talk to us. What started you on this?
Okay, so I always loved sports too. I've been involved in sports since Little League. And I'm telling you, growing up in the south side of Chicago, it was the one thing that would keep you from getting jumped. Like if people asked you what gang you were in, you weren't in the gang, all you had to say was, yo, bro, I'm an athlete, or like I'm a neutron. And then the gangbangs would leave you alone. It's a little bit different now, but that's the way it was growing up in the neighborhood. But I've always been involved in sports. And what really got me actively involved in like working out is when I was 18 years old, my uncle brought me a gym membership to a health club. And I went to work out with him once at the gym at the time. It was called Bally's. And then I said, man, I really like this. So for my 18th birthday, he bought me a health club membership. And ever since then, I've been really in the gym working out.
Were you a student athlete in high school?
Oh, absolutely. Played high school football, high school basketball, baseball, you know, all the sports, love playing.
Okay. So your journey was already set from your teens, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so remember, that's their journey. So someone in Iowa probably never had this. So we all have different desires to move on, taking care of the show. Dr. Craig Boykin, soon to be double doctor.
I don't get enough to ask me questions. I don't know how to never will be real. So how did I get into this? My wife came was like, you fat, not attracted to you anymore. And our sex life was horrible. That's all she needed to say. That's why you get the videos that you get when you see me on TikTok. I did a lot of hard work to get where I am. Who feel what about how they feel about it. Like I've been in the gym for 14 years. It took almost 2 decades, and I'm gonna post my video.
Gotcha. And for those of you, hey, Dr. Boykin, just you're getting a little bit spotty on that signal already. But if you didn't get that, you know, I heard him talk about this before. You know, his wife told him, hey, you know, you're gaining too much weight. We can't be intimate, and that created marital situations. But he was also an athlete. Just so you all know, he was an athlete. He played Division I ball. He was an athlete, so he had that ingrained. But there was a change. And so if you ever follow this guy on TikTok, you're going to see sexy TikTok videos of this guy, all right? So there's a reason why, all right? He's a sexy cat right there, all right? Just saying, all right. Dr. Sheka Houston.
Well, I don't have any sexy videos on any platform. I was not a student athlete. I did grow up watching my grandmother struggled with type 2 diabetes. So she lost her eyesight. She ended up getting glaucoma. And so just watching her struggle with that, I knew that I didn't want to have the habits that may lead to any type of, terminal illnesses. So I was motivated to want to make some changes.
Gotcha. Perfect. And you know what? I'd just like to throw 2 cents of mine. I've always been a roller coaster in weight. I've always been a yo-yo. I'm a former Marine. So I know what a size 28 waist is, and I know what a size 40 waist is. I've always been up and down on my weight. And I know that that's a challenge for all of us. And we'll address that later on about our eating habits. Because if you're an educator, you know, hey, educator in Wisconsin, your eating habit stinks. If you're an educator, you don't have a pattern because you have so much other noise to do. But we'll get into that right now. And the whole thing is we have to take care of the shell, not only for our own self, but what we provide for our families. And an extreme example was what Dr. Boykin gave to us, right? Dr. Moreno, take it away.
So you know what? Just like, I mean, Josh, I'm super excited that we have such a large array. We have folks that started their journey from, childhood, teenage, and then we also have Dr. Houston who started later, right? So this is really good advice to kind of talk to everybody out there, depending on where you are in this journey, right? So that we can make sure we take care of our bodies and ourselves, right? I too was a student athlete, and it's important. And Josh, my goodness, you're absolutely right. When you're a sitting principal, you don't have that routine, that schedule where you get to sit down every day at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock to eat. You're eating and chewing and kicking and doing all these different things all at the same time. So it is difficult to have this routine. So I'm super excited because I too am going to learn from this podcast because I want to see how I can improve myself as well. So this is my PD. So thank you, Josh. This is a great topic, and I'm hoping everybody out there really learns from everybody out here. But I have a question.
Hold on, Dr. Moreno, I'm sorry. We cannot continue because Mr. I walk 3 miles per day is here. El Jefe is in the house. Principal Fele, welcome to the show. Fantastic Four. He always closes before his peace, thumbs up, and bam, he reminds us to take care of our health. Welcome, Jefe. Go ahead, Dr. Moreno.
Awesome. Well, cool. But I have a question for all of you. My question is, what do you prefer? Do you prefer weights? Do you prefer cardio? Do you do a combo of both? Or do you do something completely different? So let's go ahead and start with Dr. Boykins.
All right. So when I was new to the gym, I did what most men do, and I went in and I got on the weights, and I hit the weights hard, and I got up to benching almost 500 pounds, but I still had a fat stomach. I still was overweight. I wasn't achieving my goals, and so I had to take a step back. I started doing research. I started looking at YouTube videos, and I'm like, why am I getting stronger? I'm in here every day, but I'm not losing any weight. And so then I had to refocus. So now when I go to the gym, I run 2 miles for about 30 minutes first. I'm going to do that regardless before I do anything. And then I kind of do the weights, but I don't do 500 pounds. Like, why am I benching 500 pounds? I'm not going to go to the NFL. Like, that doesn't make any sense. All you're going to do is hurt your joints. You're going to be in a position where you can't even move and function. And that's not what I'm trying to do. And so now it's light, a lot of reps, lightweight, cardio, and your meals. That was the biggest. McDonald's. I passed by McDonald's and gained 5 pounds. Like, so.
Just by watching the sign. We're going to talk about diet in a little bit, but yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Asael, let's go with the 956. What do you suggest?
As far as for me, what works for me is just not a lot of cardio. Because before I used to run, there was a time when I was running like maybe 5 to 10 miles a day. But again, like Craig was saying, like, why am I doing that? Like even right now, can I do a half a marathon with no training? Yes, I can. But why am I going to go out there and hurt myself? That's the way I see it. I'm already 52. I don't need to bench press You know, I'm not going to the NFL either, so it's always light weights, a lot of core, a lot of sit-ups, push-ups, body squats. That's mainly my workout, and my workout is usually at 4 a.m. High school principal. My evenings are pretty much shot, and that's from Monday through Saturday. So evenings, you never know what's gonna come up. So the best time for me, it's 4 a.m. And so I love it. Usually I'm out on the road by 4 and it's just me in the road, no one else. So it's a beautiful time to just, just relax, chill, and not think about anything.
Hey, Asael, they used to call us the gym rats because I used to go at 4 o'clock in the morning too. Because as a sitting principal, that's the only time I had time to go at 4 o'clock in the morning. And so it was all the gym rats in there, is what I would call people.
Big time.
Awesome. Awesome. Dr. Houston, what you got for me? What do you do?
Well, I started off probably more with cardio, running, walking, dance, cardio. But I'm the type of person, I get bored quickly. So I like to change my routines up. So I do also do weights, Pilates, bar. So just whatever I'm feeling, that's what I switch to. And I work out at home. I'm not a gym person. And I'm also a 4 a.m. person as well.
4 a.m. Dr. Parker, what you got? What do you do?
You know what? I like to mix it all up. So I like to superset all of my exercises when I'm in the gym doing weight training. I understand the importance of cardio because you got to keep that heart healthy as well. You know what? Shout out to Principal Kafele. All right. Shout out to Dot Jeter. Me and Dot, we were principals at the same time in the same district. Shout out to Dot. Also, shout out to Melissa. See her on the call too with Facebook friends. But I like to mix it up. I get my cardio in while I'm lifting weights. I love HIIT training. And you know, I used to always come in and just hit the treadmill first before I hit the weights. But then I found out, like, when you hit the treadmill first, they tell me that you should hit the weights first because now you're hitting your protein sources. And then afterwards, you do cardio. Now you're, burning that fat off. So I like to mix it up. So I do some of it all when I hit the gym.
Anybody do stationary bikes? Anybody? Nobody? Stationary bikes? I'm just kind of curious about,
I like to do cycling, but out on the road.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. I'm just kind of curious. I used to be a big cycler and I stopped. But I was just kind of curious what you guys, I have a beautiful Peloton in my bedroom and it's just sitting there. So I think I need to get on that thing. It was worth a lot of money and I paid a lot of money for it. So I'm being inspired again to kind of get back on that bike again.
Hey,
Dr. Moreno, you gotta do what works for you. One thing I will say, when I do go for a long distance jog, there's no better feeling than when those endorphins kick in doing a long distance jog. So I can lift weights all day and do HIIT training and those kind of workouts. But when I do like a long sustained jog, like there's no better feeling than the endorphins that kick in after accomplishing one of those.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You had Dr. Gaskin said that she does the bike and Jefe does the bike and also Dot does the bike. So thank you for the feedback, everybody. And you know what? Today I started a new gym that Hot Works, where they do the sauna, but they do the machines inside. So this fat guy kind of had an issue there with the heat and moving on the bike. It was kind of interesting. I got to do it a couple more times, but you know what? It really got me burning real quick, especially with some pre-workout in there. So it was an interesting experience going to Hot Works. I'll post it later on how it goes. But you know what? We're here to give advice. What we lived, the shoes, the shoes that we wear in administration and in the classroom, nutrition. How did you find time to eat? There is no time. That's a fact. We always have like either a cafeteria plate or we pre-cook something. We're walking in the hallway or at 3 o'clock, we go down the street to buy something. Tell us, while you were or you still are, whatever it is, how did you find time to eat? And if you were able to pre-cook your meals, how did you do all that? Talk about your eating habits and talk about anything that you already set up, pre-cooked, because you know what? There are people that have the discipline to do that. On Sunday, I don't want to cook 7 pounds of chicken. I'm telling you right now. I don't want to do that in little containers of plastic and portion everything. You do that, gracias. Tú eres arriba. I don't have time for that. So, Dr. Parker, talk to us. Let us know what was your nutrition choices pathway when you were at the campus level?
You know what? It's tough, being a principal, because you're right. You could get pulled in any different direction at any time of the day. So it's hard to have a set time where you eat lunch. I got to give a shout out to my secretary. I love her because she would make sure that I ate. She'd be like, okay, Dr. Parker, you've been ripping and running. All right, I'm going to hold all your phone calls and anybody who comes into this office. Look, she says, go and eat. So she really made sure that I went to eat. And like I always heard this saying a few years ago, and I kind of stuck to it. It said, eat breakfast like a king, eat lunch like a prince, and eat dinner like a peasant. So in other words, you want to eat the most of your calories at the beginning of the day so we have the rest of the day to burn them off. But for me, for lunch, a quick turkey sandwich, bag of chips, quick chicken breast salad. And I wasn't averse to cooking my chicken because you could eat chicken with anything. You could throw it in your salad, make a quick, turkey sandwich, chicken sandwich. So that's the way I did it. So shout out to my secretary who always kept me making sure that I take time to eat and take care of myself, because if you don't eat, you're going to catch a headache and you ain't going to feel like being there. So you got to eat. Do not, people wear that like it's a badge of honor that they skip lunch or they don't have time to eat, but that's not a healthy practice. And, sometimes it was messy. Sometimes it was a slice of pizza. Sometimes it was, a cheeseburger, depending on what I can get my hands on if I didn't bring my lunch. But when I really became more conscious, I would, bring, like I said, a turkey sandwich or a nice little salad. But hey, it wasn't always neat like that.
Give me that quote again. Give me that quote again for someone that didn't hear it. Eat what?
Eat. Okay, so it's eat breakfast like a king, eat lunch like a prince, and eat dinner like a peasant.
There you go. There you go. Low at the end. All right. Dr. Craig Boykin, talk to us, classroom teacher, what you did. What did you do?
Well, to be honest with you, most of the time, classroom teachers where they have a little bit more freedom.
Hey, Craig, let me come.
I think if you take off your video, I think maybe the audio will come out a little better. Try that. You want to try that? Now talk there.
Okay, let me try. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, go.
I got like 5 different Wi-Fi. All the kids off Wi-Fi. But so can y'all hear me? Are y'all good?
You're in and out, Craig. We'll come back to you. Go ahead. You want to fix it?
Come back to me.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Sheka Houston, and if you, Sheka, tell everybody before you get into that Facebook group that you're part of that promotes a lot of that health. What is that called?
Fit Minds, Fit Bodies.
Okay, talk to us. Sheka.
So when and shout out to all the Fantastic Four real family that's joining us, like Dr. Parker stated. So at the start of the shutdown, my goal has always been to try to go vegan, because you get a lot more nutrition from plants, than you do animals. So at the start of the shutdown, I progressed towards that by becoming a pescatarian. Josh calls me a fishaholic. So I've cut out most meats except for seafood. And I also, of course, eat fruits and vegetables. But I've continued that since, the start of the pandemic. At that time, I've started exercising, doing intermittent fasting, drinking water. So I lost 60 pounds. And as a principal, my eating habits were horrible. I would just grab snacks all day, chips here, not really eating properly. Now I intermittent fast, so I don't eat. I do black coffee and water until 11. I eat factor meals for my lunch, and then for dinner, I do a protein shake. And so in between there, I eat fruits, vegetables, snacks, nuts. those types of things. So that's pretty much my diet to maintain. I don't like to cook, so that's why I do factor meals.
So just so you all know, it's very awkward when I'm eating a slab of ribs and this lady has a tuna salad next to me. I'm like, who looks like the big fat pig right here? She's eating like a nice, quaint little tuna salad. I got a big slab of ribs on the side, getting all protein.
Josh, you
Ah,
could have ordered a tuna salad too.
yeah, that's true too. Asael, talk to us, Asael.
I'm gonna start off that I live probably in the worst part of America. 956. The food is just off the charts, off the hook. Uh, you all know the best food in the world. It's right here.
Tacos.
It's right here. It's right here. Mexican food, best food in the world. So, man, it's tough. It's tough to avoid the conchas, the tacos de chicharrón, bistec, enchiladas, nachos, fajitas, crazy stuff. But great, great stuff. Menudo is just out of this world. Uh, my thing is just to try to avoid some of these foods. That's always my game plan. Like, okay, if you're gonna eat some menudo, make it a small serving. So small servings for me always work. As far as at school and at work, I have a great, great wife that I'll send out a shout out to, Amy. Every Sunday she's meal prepping, so she's the one that supports me and keeps me healthy. So every weekend she'll ask me, "What do you want this week?" And every week I want the same thing, and it's always salmon. Usually salmon with broccoli, salmon with quinoa, salmon with some wild rice, some asparagus, whatever the case might be. But always meal prepping, and I always tell her, "Hey, you cook it, I eat it. I'm not gonna be picky. Oh, you didn't do this or you didn't do that." So, I had never tried quinoa, and she's like, "You want some quinoa?" I'm like, "Hey, let's do it. Let's run with it." So, no complaints here as far as what I get for my meal preps.
So you see right there, everybody, we got some meal prepping going on. We got some focused eating going on. We got an awesome secretary that says, leave him alone. He's got to eat going on. And before we hand it over to Craig, I'm glad that El Paso was able to send you good chefs to teach you in the Valley how to cook good Mexican food. All right, Craig, Boykin.
Well, first of all, is this better? So wrong, big feet, chitlins, and pork chops and fried chicken. It hit a little different than that Mexican food, but and it's a lot heavier and it stick with you a lot longer. But for me, it was the discipline of having to make myself eat breakfast, like Dr. Parker was talking about, getting that metabolism started. Because I just did. I love breakfast; it's my favorite food to eat, but I don't like eating breakfast. If it makes any sense. And so I have to make myself eat breakfast to get my metabolism started. Very important. Now, I don't like being in a box. And so for me, meal prep just doesn't work. Like that because I might want salmon one day, I might want some baked fish in the air fryer the next day. Like I changed. And so for me, it just didn't work. But it was just the discipline of eating right. I'm gonna tell you what messed me up. I met a guy in the gym. Guy was cut up. Guy had a six-pack. He looked like he was chiseled out of stone. And he gave me a comment that it messed with me. He said, "Man, I'm gonna be honest with you." He said, "Man, you can eat whatever you want to eat as long as you burn it off when you come to the gym." So for years, I was in the gym eating McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, but like, like I'm eating whatever I want to eat because he told me that, and he looked like a model. But and so then one day I sat down, Dr. Houston, and I thought about it. I ate a slice of pizza, and it was like 500 calories. And then I remember for 30 minutes and calories. And I'm like, I'm working backwards. This one slice of pizza wasn't worth the hell I went through on that treadmill for 30 minutes. And so that's when I started realizing I'm working against myself, and I had to have the discipline to understand that eating is just as important as cardio, is just as important as weight training.
And that's what you call bro science. Take it away, Dr. Moreno.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Let me just tell you, I have to like really do a shout out because you know what, Dr. Parker? You had a phenomenal secretary who would stop you. I had to kind of go back because, you know, we always have to have that great secretary. As a principal, you need someone who's going to protect you, who's going to, you know, really kind of help you manage your time. And I had that secretary just like you who would say, stop and eat. You have to take care of your body before you take care of these kids, before you take care of your staff, before you take care of your community. So you're absolutely right. So I want to shout out my former secretary, 18 years, because you're right. We need other people to take care of us too sometimes. So awesome. I have a very interesting question because this also speaks to me personally. I'm always looking through social media. I'm always and they're always telling stuff about, you know, here is this supplement and try this and oh, he's so cute. So I'm one of those people that are constantly jumping between different supplements. Oh, I need to try this or I need to try that. So I'm always kind of looking for the best way. My question to you guys is, every body type is different, of course, right? But what can you tell us, me personally, right? But people out there in the audience, what supplements do you take to help your body going through this healthy journey? Let me see. Let me start off with Dr. Houston, since woman to woman, talk to me.
Well, I am 46, Dr. Moreno. So, you know, us ladies, we go through a lot of different changes. I'm going through menopause. So with that, you know, we lose estrogen as our bodies age and we get older. So with that lower level of estrogen, I look for supplements to try to supplement that, but naturally, because the chemical-based estrogen products are actually dangerous. They cause breast cancer. So I take something called Cella Beauty. It was developed by a female physician. And I also take Nova MD. The Nova MD is, it gives you a plant-based estrogen supplement. So that helps. And I also take multivitamins as well. There's a O positive. I take those menopause supplements. But my body is going through a lot of changes. So I've found that combination that has worked for me. But it really just depends on you as an individual person.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm kind of almost the same age as you are. So thank you for the advice. And I wrote some of these things out. So thanks for the notes. Dr. Parker, what do you suggest?
Okay, so I love to weight train. So I know what I eat and what I take has to fuel my body in order to, you know, give me the energy and strength that I want to weight train. But I keep it simple. I do a GNC multi-men's vitamin, and then I add protein to my smoothies in the morning. So my smoothies, I just mix up some bananas, some strawberries, some blueberries, peanut butter, some honey, and I add some protein, 2 scoops of protein to it. And then I just take my multivitamin from GNC. And then one other thing that I take is I do take Prevagen. My mom has Alzheimer's, and my uncle also passed away from Alzheimer's. So just to keep my mind sharp, I also take a Prevagen because I want to ward off any Alzheimer's or anything like that. So those are the things that I do in order to make sure that my body is getting the correct nutrients and that I'm staying healthy and giving my body the fuel that it needs, you know, just to make it through the day and then to feel like working out after the work day.
Yeah, absolutely. Easy, right? Putting some protein into your shakes in the morning sounds something we can all do, right?
You know, another quick trick, you know, a cheat code, a hack, as they say, is a cup of coffee around 2:00, because that'll give you a boost in energy. Like if you plan on working out after the work day, but y'all 4 a.m. people, y'all probably don't need it. Y'all probably need it just to stay awake by 2:00.
Always nice to have some coffee, but now I have an excuse to say it because Dr. Parker told me to do
There you
it.
go.
So
Take
you know
it
what?
black.
I'm
Take
going
it
to do
black.
it.
Give you that caffeine boost.
Absolutely. Dr. Boykins, what you got? What you taking?
I'm with you, Dr. Parker. These 4 a.m. I can't 4 a.m. Listen, I ain't even rolled over yet. Like, God bless y'all. Like that's crazy. I'm
I ain't built
definitely,
like that either.
yeah, I work out better in the evening time. That's just me. But now it does backfire because I took a pre-workout, Dr. Parker, one time at like 6 p.m. and I couldn't go to sleep for 24 hours. Like I don't know what was in that pre-workout, but I couldn't. But for me, what I take, apple cider vinegar pills. Like they are amazing. Apple cider vinegar pills. I take a seaweed pill. I take a body, and I take and, and that's pretty
Hey,
much
Craig,
he
you're
was
going
on
in
it.
and out again.
He started with. Okay, can you hear me now? I don't know. Can you hear me?
Better. It's in and out. It's kind of weird.
I don't know why it's doing that. I apologize, but that was it. Yeah, that was it for me.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's go to see. We'll see if your internet kind of fixes it a little better moving forward. But why don't we go over to Asael?
Uh, as far as me, aside from a multivitamin, like I do zero supplements. Uh, my supplements are the food I take. And there was a time where I was just eating just vegetables and fruits, and you know what? That's when my body felt the best. Every once in a while, I suffer from allergies and my joints and all that, but once I eat clean and healthy, my body feels fantastic. So, no supplements. Just try to eat less portions and try to eat healthy, and that's what works for me.
Wow. So there's such an array here, right? There's so many other. There's you can do the no supplements. You can do supplements specifically for like picking up your protein, multivitamins. I think somebody out there said that they take a prenatal vitamin because it has all of the supplements in there. So there's lots of opportunities and different options out there for the different types of bodies. But we need to make sure that we consult our doctors and making sure that we are doing what we need to take care of for our own bodies. But those are really good advice, and thank you, because you know what? I completely forgot about smoothies in the morning and putting that protein, which is a super, super easy fix. I do not like eating breakfast, but definitely I need my protein in the morning because I'm not going to get by throughout the whole day. So I need my protein in the morning. So, Dr. Parker, thank you for reminding me about simple smoothie, man. That's a super
No doubt.
easy fix.
Easy fix.
Yeah.
All right, let's get down to it. You're in the gym. We all have different genres of music to listen to, right? We all of us, all right? But question number one is, what's your favorite genre of music? And you know, the last set. You know what I'm talking about? The last lap. You don't want it, but you gotta have it. You gotta have it. And you gotta put that one song. So, what's your favorite genre on those headsets? What are you listening to overall? And on that last one, ¿cuál? ¿Cuál estás escuchando? What are you listening to, Asael?
Favorite genre as far as to work out, I have to go with rap music. Some Eminem, Eric B. Rakim, some just that old school rap, NWA, stuff like that. That's what works for me.
And the last song, which one?
The last song, man, there's so many, but I guess I'll go with some LL Cool J. I'm bad.
Oh, Lord. All right. I got you. Sheka
And
Houston.
here I thought he was going to say Peso Pluma or something like that. What's up?
Almost. Grupo Frontera. No, as far as to work out, I would say rap. But as far as to listen to, definitely some Frontera, Bad Bunny, Peso Pluma, stuff like that.
All
Awesome.
right. All right. Principal Café asked you a question, Craig, but I think it's the Alabama fans that are messing with your Auburn Wi-Fi, bro. So you know what? You gotta beat them in football. That way you don't have this kind of nonsense with your Wi-Fi, bro. But we'll get to you right now, all right? Make sure you fix it. If not, you better get some more speaking gigs because that Wi-Fi you gotta work on it. Sheka Houston, talk to us. What genre and what is the last song?
So at 4 a.m., I am getting my inspiration on with gospel. I usually do Tamala Man radio on Pandora. So Corinne Hawthorne usually has more of the upbeat types of gospel songs, but I don't need like fast paced music to work out. Even if I'm not listening to gospel, I like stuff that I can sing along with. So if I'm not doing gospel, it's R&B.
Awesome. And the last song?
There's not really a last song.
Come on, Sheka. I know you got one. I know you got that one. Con fuego. With fire.
Not really.
All right.
But I'm gonna think of one. I'm gonna think of it.
All right. Dr. Don Parker.
All right. So I love listening to rap music, hip hop, and I even like what a genre of music that a lot of people don't know about if you're not from Chicago, but Chicago house music is a very upbeat, energetic type of music to listen to. So if you just like look on YouTube or Pandora, just type in Chicago house music, that's a very upbeat genre type of music that'll also just get your endorphins flowing, get you in the mood to work out. But I love rap and hip hop too. So the last song that really get me over the hump is God Did by DJ Khaled and various artists on that song. You know, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, and who am I forgetting? Rick Ross. Yeah, if I put that music on, I'm going to increase my bench press by about 100 pounds. And that just give me hype. And then, of course, I'm All the Way Up by Fat Joe. Listen to that, too. That get me in a great mood. So that's just that music that just get me pumped up. Have me feeling like Superman.
All I know is that Jefe says that Chicago is no good. Jersey's the best. That's it. It's done right there. Sorry, Dr. Don, you've been trumped. You cannot say that anymore because Jersey House is what it's all about. Craig Boykin, let's go, man. What's up with that Wi-Fi? Let's go. Talk to me.
Well, I got 3 kids under 9 as I was pulling my Wi-Fi and my wife, so I had to go put all of them off the Wi-Fi. But first of all, tell Kafele, ain't nobody listening to Michael Jackson while we working out like that. He missed me with that. Like I can't listen to Michael Jackson while I'm working out. But my genre, what get me, like Dr. Parker was talking about, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. Like when I'm working out, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, they have you crunk. They call it crunk music. Like they be having song that I go to when I need to finish a set. Let's Go by Lil Jon. Like that's my jam.
All right. And I would be remiss before I hand it over to Dr. Moreno. How dare none of you mention Judas Priest, Motley Crue, or Metallica? How dare you? How dare you, educators, not get that pump on? How dare you? I have to speak for the 80s bands that brought us everything.
I found mine, Josh.
Huh?
Corinne Hawthorne, Won't He Do It? That's
Corinne Hawthorne. All right.
It's upbeat.
Go, Dr. Moreno.
So you guys, as leaders, here we are at school or at home, we're always trying to help others, right? So my question to you guys is, do you promote your health journey at work or at home? So if you do, then how do you inspire others to do this to take care of their bodies? Do you do this? Do you just talk to your family at home, or do you also promote your health journey to other colleagues at school?
Now that's a great question. We'll
start off with you, Dr. Parker.
All right, so that's a great question. So at my school, me being a former PE teacher, I believe in, walking the walk, talking the talk. So as a principal, I always promote fitness. Like we will have staff institute days where we always implement a fitness component. And in addition to that, we started a Biggest Loser challenge at my school, where we give prizes out to people who lost the most weight and people who consistently had the longest streak for doing one healthy exercise every day. So we definitely promote it at school, and we're always encouraging one another. Hey, you know what? Get your workout in. Eat healthy. And so it's like those accountability partners are always important. And of course, at home too is we have family gym memberships. And so when I go to the gym, I can bring my wife with me. I can bring my daughter, or we could just go outside, go for a walk, go for a jog. So we're always doing healthy activities together as a family.
That's awesome. I like that you take care of both, right? You take care of your family and you take care of your folks at school as well. That is awesome. Before your Wi-Fi even messes up, it looks like it's working right now. So Dr. Boykins, come on, give it to me before it goes out on me.
Y'all gonna start with these Wi-Fi jokes, I promise you. But for me, I've learned to mind my business. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm that person in the gym. I don't believe in wasting my time and wasting other people's time. So if you're doing something wrong in the gym, I'll walk over to you and say, "Hey, man, you're doing that wrong." Now I've gotten cussed out 1,000 times. My husband, she drove off when he got a husband. He came back and tried to fight me in the gym. Told me leave his wife alone. So I'm to the point now. I'm about 6'3" now. I'm not no little dude, but I'm just to the point now. If you in the gym, you doing exercise wrong, that's your business. If you ain't doing it right, that's you. You'll learn over time. You wasting your time. So I don't bother nobody about fitness. I don't force it on nobody. I just do me and keep it moving.
And you know what? That's probably some good stuff because you know what? You're right. You got to take care of yourself. But that was funny though. Asael, what do you got? What do you do? Do you do one, other, or both?
So what I do is I usually do my workout at 4 a.m. And once I finish my workout, I'll post it on my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I have teachers that follow me. My kids follow me as far as my own personal kids. Kids at school follow me on Twitter. They follow me everywhere as far as on all social media platforms. And they all see my post, after every workout I post it, and I never knew the impact it was making until some kids and even I've had teachers, colleagues, cousins, friends, former students. They're like, "Damn, boy, like at 4 a.m." I'm like, "Yeah, at 4 a.m. That's that's what works for me." And so every once in a while, I'll get a former student or someone tell me like, "You know what? You inspired me. I'm gonna start working out." And just so randomly, they just come up to me and tell me, teachers. So you never know who you're inspiring, even if it's just a little post, and it apparently it does. So I'm gonna continue doing it. And of
That's
course,
amazing.
I would want to lead by example.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me it'd be kind of hard for me to tell somebody to exercise if I'm not doing it. So obviously I want to lead by example, not only for my kids, my family, but for everyone that follows me. So that's me.
Awesome. That's awesome. And you know what? It's good to know, right? It's good to know that if you post something as simple as I ran a mile today, right? You just never know that someone's going to pick that up and say, you know what? I want to do this too. Because if she can do it, I can do it. Right? So awesome. Thank you for sharing. Dr. Houston, what do you do?
So as a principal, I definitely promoted it because if people are healthy, they're going to come to work. And if they're, exercise makes you feel better. So if you're feeling good, you're going to treat the kids good. Everybody's going to be good. But I started off posting my workout online or really on Facebook. And people would say, tag me. So I started tagging people and the list just grew longer and longer and longer. So that's why I started Fit Minds, Fit Body, the Facebook group, because that way we use that as accountability. I also post under Josh's post for the 10,000 Steps Club. Sometimes when I'm traveling, it's harder to post, even though I work out lately, I've been forgetting, but I will post, my watch. I'm connected to people on my watch, our accountability partners. So we keep track of one another. If somebody doesn't post in a few days, they're running me down. Hey, what are you doing? Hadn't seen you work out. What's going on? So we keep track of one another. So that helps.
That is awesome. And you know what? I have the same fitness app where I have some of my colleagues. And so yeah, it always helps because we hold each other accountable, right? And
Hmm.
so yeah, we gotta utilize some of these applications on our phones and watches and stuff so that we can keep track of our colleagues and friends.
And one year I did buy the entire staff. Tiffany, I can't think of her last name, but she has a fitness program that she does specifically for educators. I'm gonna look it up to make sure. But I bought everyone her Fit Teach book as a gift, their welcome back gift. That would I said that was this will be our way to start the year off healthy. So it was like a fitness tracker and some healthy recipes, and she does recipes online too for educators. So Fit Teach Tiffany, and I'll look up her handle. But I think if you look up Fit Teach Tiffany, that gift was something everybody liked.
Awesome. We'll share that in a little bit.
We ready?
Yep.
All right. So real quick, guys, we all look up to somebody in that is working out, just like you guys posted for other individuals, and you make that connection, right? Who inspires you? Who's out there in the media, on TV, which show that tells you in the morning? For me, when I don't want to get up at 3:35 when that alarm goes off, Goggins yells at me. He tells me, "Get up, fat boy! You wanted to eat. Get up, fat boy! You want to be fat." Yes or no? Yes or no? Goggins is the man. Who motivates you? Craig Boykin.
My wife, like her comments ring in my head until I die. Like I don't need no more when she tell me why I post videos, I said because of your comment. That's why. My wife is up.
Dr. Sheka Houston.
Thomasina Lee Currington. She is on my fitness watch. She's one of my colleagues. She's an assistant principal at the Center of Literacy and Technology in Chester. But she gets up before me at 3 something. So by the time I'm getting up at 4, my alert has already gone off. Thomasina has worked out. So when I see that alert, I know that Thomasina has worked out before 4 a.m. I can get up and work out.
Asael.
Hey, all right, loaded question here, but I'm gonna have to go with my pops. Passed away in 2008 from cancer. So one of the last days in the hospital, I remember I told him, I'm like, hey, Dad, you know what? When you get out, I told him, you're going to beat cancer. Like, you're going to beat cancer. You're going to be fine. When you get out, we're going to go have a beer. And anyway, he told me something that day, and he's like, son, you know what? I just wish I could stand up. And that, just made me even like crazier, I guess, to work out. And I left the hospital that day, and I'm like, you know what? Like, that's right. That's right. It's a blessing to be able to walk, and I'm gonna do everything I can, on my end to stay healthy, to walk, to run, to enjoy life, and that's it. So definitely, my dad
Es todo.
motivates me.
Es todo. Así me gusta. Don Parker.
Hey, yeah, ICL. That's deep right there, bro. RIP to your dad. So I have some close friends. I have a close circle of friends who we push each other all the time. We gym partners. We meet up at the gym and we work out. Also, shout out to my boy Robert Jackson. He wrote the foreword in my book, Building Bridges, Engaging Students at Risk Through the Power of Relationships. We've been on social media before, just posting workout videos, challenging one another, encouraging one another. And check out my boy, George Valenzuela, who's also on this call today. George does a lot of PD work in Chicago. He visits Chicago. He's like, yo, Don, I just gave PD for the entire day, but you know what? Take me to the gym. Let's go work out. I'm like, let's do it, man. You ain't got to ask me twice. So just a community of people who understands the importance of, staying healthy and staying fit. And also my fit leaders group on Twitter. I don't know if you guys follow fit leaders, and I know ACL does. Josh, you
Ryan
do
Jackson.
and there's a bunch of educators who are educational leaders and teachers and they are always posting positive things on Twitter about the importance of working out and staying healthy. So shout out to the Fit Leaders crew.
Awesome. Awesome. Now I know we're talking about who inspires us, right? Who's out there. But you know what? I have to admit, I just said earlier in this podcast that I have a amazing Peloton in my bedroom that I have yet to spin, right? So so can you help me and help everybody out there? How do you fight that 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 negative person in your head that says, "Man, this bed, it's we had a hard day yesterday, and I just want to stay in my bed, and I don't want to work out." Those 4 o'clock in the morning people. I'll be honest. I used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now that person's in that head of mine. How do you fight the urge of that voice that says, "You know what? And you can skip one today. Come on now." So how do you fight that urge? We'll start off with Asael. 956, man, what's up?
So my wife, yeah, my wife, she asked me the same question as far as like, hey, how do you wake up every day at 4 a.m.? I'm like, easy. I open my eyes and I get out of bed and I'm good to go. But anyway, this is the way I see it. I feel that if you know my one post inspires one person, because that's all it takes. And you never know who you're inspiring. It could be a student, whoever the case might be. You know what? I have that responsibility. I see it as a responsibility for my dad, my family, my teachers at work, my students, uh, and I just feel responsible for that. It's a big responsibility that I'm more than willing to take on, and like there's no stopping me. That's the way I see it. Like there's a million excuses. The bed, the temperature outside, it's raining, the weather. There's always an excuse. I'm tired. It was a late night last night. There was a long board meeting, whatever that I had to stay for. But it doesn't matter. At 4 a.m. I just get up and get going, and that's it. It's a new day, and I'm ready to take it on.
I love it. So inspiring others. Awesome. Awesome. Dr. Parker, what do you got?
All right. So I heard a quote the other day that said, "Your body will never fail to reward you for movement." And so even when I don't feel like it, I know I will feel better if I go work out as opposed to skipping the workout. Then afterwards, I'll still feel a little bit sluggish. So, just like ICL said, it's a million excuses, but the reason to do it has to be greater than your excuses not to do it. And so I know just off my personal experience, I always feel better after doing a workout, even if I don't feel like going. So yeah, that's kind of my motivation to just go do the work.
Just
Because
do it.
yeah, here's my advice. Like we've always heard, no pain, no gain. But like workout and movement, it doesn't have to hurt. So you could go to the gym, and if you don't go 100, let's say if you go like 50 or 60%, that's better than not doing anything at all. You don't have to run until you run out of breath and pass out, but just a nice little light jog. And once I get past my first, 2 or 3 sets, then my motivation kicks in even more. I get that momentum going. So I can end with the quote: "You don't have to be great to start, but you got to start to be great." So just go.
Oh, I love that. Rick, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
To start to be great. I love that. You know what? I'm going to write that down. And I think that's what I'm going to start off with in the morning tomorrow. Even when I'm on vacation, I'm going to do that.
Do it. Your body will not fail to reward you for doing the work. So do it.
And you know what? You're not always going to be motivated. Like, not every day you're going to be motivated to get up at 4 a.m., but it takes discipline.
Oh, yeah, that's what they say. They say motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going.
Yep.
You go right
Ah,
there.
Discipline.
Like that. I don't know, Dr. Boykins. What do you have to say? Those are some really powerful advice there.
So for me, I get an adrenaline rush from two things: when I'm in front of people speaking with a microphone in my hand, and when I'm in that gym. This has become an addiction for me. So it is not I'm pissed off off right now because I'm on this podcast. Like this is my gym time that I'm sacrificing to be on this podcast. No, I'm dead serious. I was in Nashville for the last 2 days. I couldn't work out. I'm going to Oklahoma the next Monday and Tuesday. I'm not going to be able to work out. Like today was the only day I can work out in 5 days. So literally, I'm like a junkie. Like I feel like I'm letting myself down because I hadn't worked out in 5 days. Like that. Once you start to see results, it becomes an addiction. And I am on the addiction side. Like my wife asked me, why do you go to the gym every day? That is my high. Like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't go to no club. Like when I'm in that gym, I'm in my place. I feel like that, like I can stand there for 3 hours and it feel like 30 minutes. And I'm not exaggerating. Y'all can tell by my body, I'm real. I'm really telling you, I can be in there for 3 hours and it feel like 30 minutes. And I want to stay another 30 minutes. Like I love it. I'm a junkie for the gym.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And last but not least, how do us women do this, Dr. Houston?
Well, mine is twofold, kind of like Asael. I feel like it's a responsibility almost, like people are counting on me, especially when people inbox me if they don't see that I've worked out. I hadn't seen you post in a few days. You still working out? Yeah, I'm still working out. I just forgot to post. So it's almost like people look for it. And then growing up in the African-American community, I don't know if this is true for anybody else, but it seems like everybody that's on Fat Patrol is in the family. So if you gain a pound or two, somebody's going to let you know either at church or somewhere. So I got a lot of Fat Patrol around me. So I just, I like the way I look in my clothes. I like the way I feel. And it is almost like an addiction, like Dr. Boykin talked about as well.
Well, thank you guys. That was awesome.
Yeah,
and if you're looking for someone to follow that does the Peloton, Cora Graves in our Fit Minds and Fit Bodies group, she does the Peloton. So Rebecca, Deidre, and Cora, we kind of inbox each other, make sure we're all working out at the same time, or at least daily.
All right, guys, here we go. This is called the PGP podcast, Las Puras Ganas podcast, Ganas. And coach, you know what? I made you an honorary Mexican, Craig, when I took you to Socorro High School. So you got to make sure you touch a lot of Spanish words, all right, brother? So it's about a spiritual thing. It's a word, Ganas, is spiritual for all Hispanic communities. That's truly deep-felt, and that means we're got to give some advice out there because every grandparent tells their little kids, échale ganas, mijo. Every mom tells every kid, échale ganas, mijo. Every coach that's Hispanic tells another one, échale ganas, mijo. So here we go. The échale ganas questions. We're starting off with Sheka Houston. Remember, just like Jefe says, if it's more than a sentence, it's too long. Here we go. Give advice to either a teacher or an administrator.
We are in the people business before we are in anything else.
Love it. Read a note, an email, or a text from a teacher or student that inspired you.
A teacher that was leaving this year, she emailed me and told me about that. I just inspired her. So that was inspiring to me.
Let's not wait to give flowers out to a fellow peer. Send out some flowers to an educator that inspires you. And why do they inspire you?
Dr. Tammy Taylor. I don't know anyone with a better work ethic than her. And she definitely treats all of her staff well. My trustmate in education.
Who should they follow? Name somebody the followers should follow on social media.
Dr. Tammy Taylor at Create and Educate.
Love it. One song that embodies you, your essence as Sheka Houston.
I think Kelly Price. That's what we always use in a lot of our professional development. It's our time to shine.
How can people reach you?
Sheka Houston on Facebook, Sheka Houston on Twitter, Sheka Houston on LinkedIn.
Love it. Dr. Dawn Parker, give advice to either a teacher or an administrator.
All right. You know what? Just remember your purpose and continue to serve others.
Read a note, an email, or a text from a teacher or student that inspired you, Don.
All right. I was in the gym the other day and I ran into a former student. He said, "Hey, Dr. Park, I don't know if you remember this when you was my dean when I was in high school, but bro, you used to always tell me, things gonna get better. Just keep following the path, keep pursuing your dreams." And he said, "Look at me now. I'm doing exactly what I want to be." He said, "I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I'm a policeman. I love serving the community, and I just want to give you a shout out. Thank you for the influence that you gave me during that time."
Nice. Send some flowers to a colleague of you, and what do they inspire you?
Man, you know what? Look on this call right now. I'm gonna send some flowers to Dot Jeter. Dot was the principal the same time I was the principal in District 148. Absolute sweetheart. We are also in the same principal mentoring program together. She's a principal mentor, and she actually calls me and tells me what she's doing with her protege, and she gives me advice as well. So shout out to Dot.
Love it. Who should they follow on
All right.
social media?
On social media, follow my boy George Valenzuela. All right, he's always dropping gems, dropping his latest Edutopia articles. Has a great podcast as well. And me and him met about a year and a half ago, became fast friends. He also encourages me. So shout out to my boy.
Love it. What one song embodies the essence of Dr. Don Parker?
Great. You know what? I said it earlier in this call, so I'm going to say it again. Look, I'm all the way up. Nothing will stop me. I'm all the way up.
How can people reach you?
All right. Facebook, Dr. Don Parker. Twitter, at Dr. Don Parker 1. Instagram, Dr. Don Parker. LinkedIn, Dr. Don Parker.
Craig Boykin, give advice to either a new teacher or administrator.
Thank you. All right. Quote is the quote that I love. It says, "In order to get to a destination that you've never gotten to, you got to go down the road in your personal life with fitness, or that can be with a student that you were unable to relate to."
Give a note, an email, a text someone gave you that inspired you.
This white guy, I was in Orlando talking about validation and how we need to validate kids. And this white guy came up to me and he said, "Man, listen," he said, "me and my wife argue all the time, and I never understood why." He said, "But when you were talking about a kid not being loved by his mama and how that made him feel invalidated," he said, "you just made me understand what I deal with my wife." He said, "Man, I feel invalidated, and I need to tell her that when I get home."
Love it. Send some flowers. Send some flowers to a colleague. Why? Why are we sending those flowers?
I'm gonna give a shout out to you, Josh. I done gave shouts out to Kafele a whole bunch of times. He ain't getting no more shots from me. But I'm gonna give you a shout out, Josh, because from a distance, I admire you, man. You are truly what you see is what you really are. You about that life, and nothing is fake about you. And I'm just being totally 100. And I love it. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Yo.
Thank you, brother. Who should they follow on social media?
Whoever inspires them.
Love it. One song that just fulfills who you are, your essence as Craig.
That was easy. Marvin Sapp never would have made it. That song embodies who I am, because I wouldn't be here without him, for real.
Love it. Last one. How can they reach you?
Lord Jesus. All right. So Facebook, Craig Boykin. Instagram, GED to PhD. TikTok, GED to PhD. Twitter, GED to PhD. Instagram, Craig Boykin. My website, www.craigboykin.com.
I have to warn you guys, if you follow him on TikTok, be careful for the Luther songs. And when he does this, just be careful. I'm letting you know right now. I warned you. I follow that guy. When he does this, just be careful. You might be just watch out. All right. That's why you
might need a reality show.
Asael Ruvalcaba from the Valley. Give advice to either a new administrator or a new teacher.
Well, just to keep on the same topic here, You only have one body, so take care of it.
Love it. Read a note, an email, or a text from a teacher or a student that inspired you, amigo.
Well, I'll throw a shout out to, I guess, to Glenn Robbins out in New Jersey. So he reached out to me a couple years back, and he's like, "Hey, Asael, I'm having this conference and putting together this conference in New Jersey, and I would like for you to come and speak over here." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, as a speaker, what you're doing over there at Rio Hondo is inspiring, and I would want for you to share that story over here in New Jersey." So, yeah, mad props for Glenn Robbins for taking me out to New Jersey.
Que bonito. Send some flowers to somebody that inspires you. And why do they inspire you?
I would have to go with Ryan Jackson, my boy from the Fit Leaders movement. So, just his story, his journey is amazing, and how can you not want to be a part of his story? So, definitely Ryan Jackson, Fit Leaders.
Who should people follow on social media?
You. But no, definitely all the Fit Leaders, Santiago Meza, Vernon Wright, big time, Taylor Armstrong, Val Chavez out in El Paso, Zandra, Zandra, Rosalba, definitely.
Awesome. One song that embodies your essence. ¿Quién eres tú en una canción?
Hey, I guess at this point in my life, I'm gonna throw a country song out there. Hey, you know me, I'm a baseball player, so here's another curveball. And at this point in my career and at my age right now, I'm a lucky man by Montgomery Gentry.
Love it. How can people reach you, brother?
Asael Ruvalcaba at Facebook, at the X, Twitter, and Instagram.
Beautiful. And that's a wrap. Thank you to all our guests, Dr. Moreno, who took time out from her vacation, Dr. Sheka Houston, who's about to be advertising a whole new state of Florida, Craig, who's been up and down around with spotty Wi-Fi, but he told us that he gave up his gym time and not look the sexy thing on TikTok by being here on the PGP podcast. Don Parker, the gun show man, is here, but loving kids and connecting with him. And Mr. 4 a.m., mi carnal, mi hermano de la mañana, Asael, right there showing how it is. So we want to thank everybody out there. If you're watching this in the rebroadcast, there's tons of knowledge being dropped. And remember, we're all professionals, but we're not professional in that. My body type is not Marie's, Sheka's, Craig. We all have different things. But you know what? All we could do is share with you, and you take that ball and you score the touchdown of life with taking care of your show. And join us next week for episode 8, the Superintendent Roundtable, number 1 superintendents, 5 of them, Sandra Jo, Glenn, Joe Clark, many more will be here on the PGP podcast. That's where they're going to be dropping their knowledge from a different perspective, from on top, letting us know how we can become better educators, better individuals, because they see things from a different lens. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Enjoy your summer vacation. I appreciate you. Like it and share it. Love you. Peace. See you next week.